So, how do you rate the services first?
Necessity for well, it's on a need. It's not as needed. So if a school has, like, for example, this year we were left elementary school, the power went out. So remember when we had really heavy rain? It burnt out the electrical box. So that school was without power for 3 days. And if I showed you pictures of what that campus looked like, students were, imagine like this table, and you're in a dark classroom, and then there's a tea light in the middle. That was how the day they went to school, that was day.
Hi, I'm Dave Mann. I'm running for Congress in Irvine in the 47th Congressional District. This is the Katie Porter open seat that is seen as crucial for taking back the House. But I've won here before. I'm a state senator, and like Katie Porter, I'm a former UC Irvine law professor who only went into politics after Donald Trump was elected. I think we've got a compelling race, a compelling campaign, but obviously this is going to be crucial for taking back the House.
I've got an ally.
Make this work. That's great.
Yeah.
It seems to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably get close to the so they can pick that out.
Give me your name, your address,
I mean, because they've got to have a cutoff point or else.
He's running against Michelle Steele in CN 45. And yesterday we had.
Oh, okay, I got it.
right
now.
Time to celebrate.
Hi. I'm the videographer.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So you're in that. You're in the section. I saw the number.
Believe it or not.
Striking the set is like
Hello.
set up.
Hello, Palos Verdes Democrats.
Hey.
Wait, you heard me. Thank you for coming on this quiet, uneventful day. I'm sure you had a lot to talk about. We're the Palos Verdes Democrats. Welcome. This is our, I don't know, maybe 8th annual summer picnic and political extravaganza. And we're so happy to have you. What a great turnout, and everybody seems to be enjoying your company, so I'm thrilled to see that. First thing I want to do is we finally solved our sound problem. And that's thanks to Tom Kenyon, who volunteered his time, and to the Torrance Democratic Club, and Jimmy Gao, president, who provided some of the equipment. So thank you so much. The members of our board, you're all here. Please raise your hands because we like to recognize all the work that you do, because you do a lot. This picnic's a lot of work, and we really appreciate our folks. So, we generally, it's become a tradition now, because when it's the third time in a row, that's a tradition, right? So our tradition is to have our first speaker, the supervisor Janice Hahn, who's over there talking to some people. Hi.
Like follow her?
Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
Yeah, we're
Saying
starting.
follow whoever's speaking.
We can't start without you. Yeah. Yep, you're up.
Okay, hello, Democrats. How are you feeling today?
Oh, yeah!
Are we fired up and ready to go?
Yes. Yes.
You know, let me just first say a few things about our amazing President Joe Biden,
Yeah.
who, in my opinion, will go down as one of the more impactful presidents that this country has ever had for working families, for women, for, you know, our environment, for health care. Let's just go down the list of all the things Joe Biden has delivered on that he said he would 4 years ago. He is an amazing president. I know him. I served with him when I was in Congress. He was the vice president. I'll never forget, you know, my mother passed away the day before I was elected to Congress. It was very traumatic. Joe Biden made it a point to reach out and call me. He didn't know me at that point, but he knew I was coming to Congress. And he reached out to tell me, give me his condolences. And I can't tell you how many times I was in Congress and someone would come up, a member of Congress would come up and say, oh, you know, my mother is such a fan of yours. And he's like, give me your cell phone. And he would then call their mother or their father and say, hi, this is Joe. This is the kind of man he is. He's compassionate.
Yeah.
He's kind. He really does put people first. And again, I think he's been one of the best presidents, particularly for LA County, right? This administration has delivered for LA County.
Yeah.
We just had his Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, in LA, delivering millions of dollars from this administration to electrify our buses, to connect communities through transit. And let's just remember, this president picked a woman as his running mate 4 years ago to be his vice president. Let's just remember, he picked, you know, our Congressmember Javier Becerra to be his Secretary of Health and Human Services. He picked a gay mayor of, was it Indiana? Pete Buttigieg, to be his Secretary of Transportation. This man walked the walk. He didn't just talk the talk. So we have a lot to honor Joe Biden for and a lot to thank him for, particularly here in California and Los Angeles County. But the decision he made today, I have such respect for him. It was a tough decision for him to make because he knows what a good president he's been. He knows what he's delivered for this country. He's been a damn good president. But I think the decision he made today was probably the most selfless decision that any elected official could make. Most of us don't give up power, you know, voluntarily. And he did for the good of this country, for the good of our party, and because he, of all people, knows what is at stake in November. So friends, I've already endorsed Kamala Harris. I came out early today and endorsed her. And I don't know where you are on that, but I will tell you, it is time. It is time for us to unify. It is time for us to get behind. In my opinion, this is a great nominee to be at the top of our ticket. And let's keep our eye on November because what Donald J. Trump represents is so far removed from the values that I know each of us hold dear in the Democratic Party. Our values will protect women's right to choose. Our values stick up for the working man. You know, our values are about helping those who are less fortunate, not helping the rich and the wealthy in this country. We have a lot at stake in November. We have the House, we have the Senate. Let's regroup, let's focus, and let's get behind our ticket like we never have before, because I'm pretty sure once the country actually begins to see who Kamala Harris is, they will see her like we saw her. She was our Attorney General in California, right? She was our United States Senator. Remember those hearings where she was literally prosecuting, because she was a former prosecutor, she was prosecuting some of those people that the Trump administration wanted to put on the Supreme Court. So I think the rest of the country will see her as smart, articulate, intelligent, and a fighter like we've never seen before. So let's put enough of this talk aside, you know, of our disagreements. It's time to come together. We only have a few weeks till the convention. We only have a few weeks till November. Let's make sure that our democratic values win in November. Thank you very much.
So, I believe we have next, I think we have the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. Let me see. Yes, the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. And I think Paul wanted to go first. Is that right? George is going first. Okay. George Lewis. He's candidate for City Council, Rancho Palos Verdes. First-time candidate. Be kind to him. I think he's a little nervous.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. My name's George Lewis. I'm running for City Council in Rancho Palos Verdes. I hope to fill Eric's seat as he moves on to the school board. A little bit about me. I'm in my 8th year living in RPV. I'm all in for RPV. I got 2 kids in the school system here. My house is by far my most significant asset. The outcome of the city, the future of the city, the success of the city, I'm all in on it. So that's why I'm running for this position, is to do what I can to steer it in that direction. The last 4 or 5 years, I've been serving on the Finance Advisory Committee, supporting the City Council. So I got a pretty good feel for the books. But let me tell you a little bit about what I support in general in policy, and I've got to do it in about 60 seconds, I think. So, number one, for me, RPV is the jewel of Los Angeles County. I know there's some other great cities in the county, but no offense to Beverly Hills, no offense to Santa Monica or Larchmont or Calabasas or anything else. I'm in RPV. I think it's the best.
What about the other cities?
And it's the best because of 3 things. And the 3 things that, for me, make it special are the 3 things I'll fight for as a council member. Number one, autonomy. The best politics is the politics that you can control locally when you can control your destiny. So it's very natural for organizations, for the county to jostle with the cities, the county to jostle with the state to jostle, but I'm all in for RPV's autonomy and our ability to control our destiny in our city. And what do you do with that control? You have a great city if you have a beautiful environment. If it's clean, if it's pure, if it's green. How does it get better than this? I mean, I know we're actually in Rolling Hills right now, but this peninsula, how does it get better than this? So I'm 100% for protecting every centimeter of green space we have. I would be for expanding it if possible. And then the second thing is you can't live if you're not safe. And we have a great deal going right now where we contract with Lomita Sheriff's Department right down the street over there. And they've done a great job. I've been going to the mayor's breakfast for the last 4 or 5 years and hearing the reports and hearing how low the crime rate is in our town and what a good job these guys do. They police the right way. They're conscientious, keep us safe, but we don't have the kind of incidents with them that we hear about elsewhere, right? They do it the right way. So, our autonomy, our clean environment, and our safety. If we have those three things going for us, it's going to be a great future for RPV. If you agree with me, I'll thank you for your support.
So I think that was his maiden stump speech. Is that right? Your very first one? Yeah, not bad, huh? Yeah. So next up we have City Councilman Paul Sale.
How's everyone doing? It feels great not having to come up here and say that I'm running for office again. So what I'm going to do today is just I'm going to cover a couple facts and some things that we've been getting done in RPV. And just brighten the room a little bit because I know there's a lot of national politics going on. And I just want to give you an update about what the local government, our city of RPV, is doing for everyone here. The first thing is, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but SCE had an issue with us for a while. We didn't have any infrastructure improvements for electricity and electrical grid. We finally were able to partner with them to fix Grandview Estates. So they were having power outages every summer and winter, and now they have barely any bumps. So we've improved on that. One of the things that's key here is our great cell phone service, right? So for the past year and a half, we've been working really hard with Crown Castle and Verizon, and they've agreed to put in about 13 extra small wireless facilities to improve all the dead zones in our area. So hopefully in the next 6 months or so, Eric is nodding, hopefully both of us can get on that really quick so that we can improve that infrastructure. Like George was saying, our public safety is very important for us here. Eric and I championed the public safety division that was created within our city. And the whole point was so that we can cut down costs for our LASD contract, but also take away admin issues that they're dealing with and have them focus on public safety, patrolling and doing what they're good at doing. So hopefully with that unit being up, we can get some improvement in our city and make sure everybody's safe here. One thing that Eric and I advocated for, Eric pushed this a lot as well, is the Youth Advisory Committee. And this was a maiden year for that specific committee. We brought in voices from middle schools and high schools in the area so that they can tell us exactly what they were dealing with. The main issue that they felt that there was a problem or something that concerned them the most was mental health issues. So we were able to listen to them, try to incorporate that into our city agenda and make sure that we can support our youth and our students within RPV and the wider peninsula. So they've been doing an excellent job. And lastly is the land side. I just wanted to say thank you to our partners, County Supervisor Janice Hahn, as well as Senator Ben Allen, Al Marisucci, and as well as Congressman Ted Lieu. I know they're here. I just want to say thank you so much for being at the table to help us try to get resources to solve the problem. I know half of our city is sliding into the ocean right now, and we're doing the best that we can, but one thing I can tell you is we have a solution for it, and we're working towards it. We're drilling to make sure we can find spots to actually put our hydroaugers in to take the water out of the ground. So that being said, if you guys want to know more about it, please let me know. And before I step off, I just want to introduce, with Connie's permission here, a colleague of mine. His name is Eric, and for the past 2.5 years, I've served with him. And I just want to make sure that we get somebody who's reasonable, who has common sense, and actually loves the children and the students within our school district. Just putting the students first, as opposed to anything else, as opposed to politics, and making sure that they can take care of first. And I hope that you support Eric Alegria, and I'll call him up here to speak next. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's great to be here. It's great to be with friends. Many of you I've known for several years now. I thank you for the support that you've given me in our community over the last 13 years. And I'm here also to ask for that support again. I've had the luxury and honor of serving the last 2 terms and expiring at the end of December this year. But in the last couple of years, through COVID and beyond, I worked very closely with the prior superintendent and now with our new superintendent, Devin Serrano, and our existing school board members. And with great passion, I want to come out and support the work that we're doing, putting kids first, making sure that the bond that's going to be on the ballot to institute repairs that are grossly needed in our schools are going to be instituted, as well as mental health services and support for our kids that are painfully needed. And finally, to support the institution and improvement of school security in our community. So with all those things, I look with great passion at the future. Most importantly, I have 4 kids of my own that are in the school district, ages 5, 7, 10, and 12, and want to make sure that they have a bright future along with their cohorts with your support. You can support us, myself and Ami Gandhi, who you're going to hear from shortly. She and I are endorsing one another and believe that we can continue to work with the remaining school board members to take our school board and school district to a positive place, to a positive future, with reasonable mindedness, reasonable solutions, reasonable discussion. With that, and with your support, I'd be honored to obtain this seat coming up in the fall. I do have some signs, so if you could, please pick some of those up. I have flyers. Look forward to talking to each of you individually over the next couple of months, and let's go win that school board seat for the Palos Verdes Unified School Board. Thank you very much.
So that's a great lead-in for our, what's going on here? Our next 2 speakers from the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. We have Ami Gandhi and Sarah Dean. I don't know which one is going first, but. And I should say there are some flyers for a fundraiser for Ami that's happening on August 1st. The flyers are up there on the sign-in table. Please consider coming to that fundraiser for her and help her out. Thank you. Come on.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. My name is Ami Gandhi, and I've been honored to represent you on the Palos Verdes Peninsula School Board, and I'm proud of the work that we have accomplished together. I'm running for re-election because of the progress that we have made. We need to continue that work, and your vote is crucial in deciding the direction of our school district. While we celebrate, we must also address the challenges. Our public education system faces attacks from false narratives and politics. School board elections are nonpartisan for a reason: to put kids first. Personal agendas should never take place over student well-being and achievement. Public schools must be safe havens where academic achievement is prioritized, not politics. PVP-USD is thriving, and we should all be so proud. We've continuously prioritized academic excellence to preserve PVP-USD's legacy and continue to maintain top academic rankings. Our state test scores in both math and English language arts have increased year over year for the past 3 years post-COVID, compared to districts across the nation and country that saw declines. Our schools offer so many unique opportunities, and this year our dual immersion program at Lunada Bay Elementary, where students learn from kindergarten in both English and Spanish, just completed its first year. And our robotics students won first place at World Championships. As a mother of 2 students in the district, I understand the value and the critical role parents play in their child's education. From volunteering to participating in the PTA, or even attending one of our open parent participation elementary schools. Last year, we went even further, with the mindset of doing more to integrate parents into the education system by including parents as part of the curriculum adoption committee. I'm happy to share that it was a true success. During the adoption process of the AP US History textbook, we had parents on the committee with very different ideas and political leanings, yet they came to full agreement on which textbook to adopt, setting the gold standard for what parental involvement should look like. We must also create a learning environment where all students belong. We must continue advocating for policies protecting all students, campuses welcoming diversity, and a community that celebrates individuality. This upcoming election will be crucial to ensuring our public schools remain a safe haven for all students. Today, I ask for your support and for you to support Eric Alegria. I not only consider Councilmember Alegria a friend, but also a trusted colleague. We have worked side by side on many projects, including increasing access across the peninsula for student mental health. We also worked together putting on an amazing Earth Day celebration for our high school students. So with that, it is my honor to endorse Councilmember Alegria for the 2nd school board seat. So please stay engaged, join by volunteering, and donate what you can to ensure that we have the resources to spread the word across our community. Without all of your support, this journey is not possible. Thank you, and let's continue to work together for the success of our students and the betterment of our community.
And next we have Sarah Dean, school board member.
Happy summer, everyone. My name is Sarah Dean, and I serve on the PVP USD School Board, and I'm happy to recognize so many of you as friends and neighbors. We may be entering the most crucial 15 weeks of our lives ahead of Election Day. And yes, while it is incredibly important who we select as our nation's president and vice president, how we treat our neighbors despite political differences is what builds a strong and resilient community over the long term. Each one of us, with our words and actions, and as members of our community, will determine the fate of our nation. Partisanship has gotten a really bad rep recently, and truly, negative partisanship has proven to be a very destructive and dangerous force. However, positive partisanship can be a positive and necessary force in our community and nation. I love that in the weeks ahead, so many of you will be gathering with family, friends, and neighbors to support ballot initiatives which you believe establish justice, uphold our democracy, and protect our liberties. That is both positive partisanship and patriotism. I am grateful that many of you will gather to support candidates whose character and civic service inspire you. Also, positive partisanship and patriotism. And speaking of candidates with both excellent character and civic service, I am so proud and grateful to serve alongside Board President Ami Gandhi on the PVP USD School Board. I am inspired by her dedication, integrity, and character in action throughout her years of service on the school board. She has never made any school board action or discussion about her political views or herself. Most importantly, no matter how obtrusive the culture wars and negative partisanship infecting school boardrooms has become, Ami has consistently and effectively prioritized our students and their ability to thrive as learners. A mother of 2 young PVP USD students, Ami was appointed by a previous and politically diverse school board because of her foremost commitment to all children. And boy, did that school board get that vote right. Her excellent service to our community is evidenced by her unanimous reappointment to the presidency by an even more politically diverse board during an incredibly divisive time. Clearly, Ami works collaboratively for the benefit of each student, regardless of the challenges, always putting their needs above her own self-interest. She is exactly the school board member this community and our students need. I understand there are going to be lots of exciting races up and down the ballot. And as you think about how your words and actions in the weeks ahead may impact our local community and nation, supporting Ami in her re-election campaign will be an opportunity to bring your families, friends, and neighbors together in a positive manner for our beloved school district. I also want to express my endorsement and support for Eric Allegria in his race for the 2nd PVP USD school board seat. Eric's extensive family engagement. 4 kids is no joke. I get tired every time I hear he has 4 kids. I only have 2. But his engagement with our schools and his commendable service as a city council member who can work across political differences bolster my excitement about his candidacy. So PD Democrats, let's come together as a community that supports positivity, patriotism, and each other to get the vote out for Ami Gandhi and Eric Allegria for PVP USD. Thank you.
Before we go further, I'd like to recognize some elected officials who are in the crowd but won't be speaking to us today. First of all, we have Rob Catherman of the Water Replenishment District. Are you still here, Rob? He provided the water that you drank today, so thank you so much, Rob. We have Scott Houston from the other water district, the West Basin Water District. Scott around, there they are. There's the water guys right there. We have Byung Cho. There he is. He's on the school board in Redondo Beach. You heard from George Lewis, who's a candidate, but we also have Joy Ford, who's a candidate. There she is, candidate for city attorney in Redondo Beach. I think that's it. Okay. Next, we are going to hear from Palos Verdes Estates City Councilman Jim Roos.
Yeah, Jim.
Thanks so much. I am Jim Roos, a City Council member in Palos Verdes Estates. I wanted to start actually by talking about the school board race real quick, because I have had the great honor of endorsing both Ami and Eric. A few months ago, they both approached me, and they say, I've heard it said that the most thankless job in politics is small town mayor. And as someone who previously served as the mayor of a small city, it is pretty thankless, but in these times, being on a school board is as thankless as it gets. Yeah. And we are extremely lucky to have two outstanding candidates for school board, and I encourage everyone to, not just support them and vote for them, but also to tell everyone that you know that these are the two people that they should be supporting in this race. It could not be more important. Certainly very important to me and to my family and my two kids. So about Palos Verdes Estates, for those of you that might live there, I'll give you a quick update. PVE is a city somewhat unlike our neighbors in our biggest challenge is always revenue. We have 5,000 households and very little to no commercial activity. We are a very constrained tax base. We rely very heavily on the parcel tax, Measure E, that was passed about 6 years ago, that pays for our police department in part. We have an effort going on soon to replace that parcel tax, which had no inflator in it and really is not enough money at this point. Me and another council member, Victoria Lozzi, had been on a committee to try to come up with recommendations on that. We ultimately decided not to put something on the ballot this November, in part because we didn't want to conflict with what was going on with the school board. Obviously, they're going to have a very important measure there also. And we are planning for something in the new year, possibly as a special election in the spring. And when that comes up, I invite everyone to get involved in that, learn about it, and help us advocate for getting that passed, because it is critical funding for us to even function as a city. And I will certainly be doing everything I can to make sure that that gets passed when the time comes. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Is PDE Treasurer Kate Greenberg here? No. Okay. All right. Next, we're moving on to Rolling Hills Estates Mayor Pro Tem Debbie Stigura. There's an election with 3 seats in Rolling Hills Estates. Debbie will be running, and also Democrats Britt Huff and Pam Schachter, I believe, will also. They're not up for election. Okay. All right. You're with Frank and Velvet. Are they both running?
Everybody, all the incumbents have full papers.
Okay.
And one more.
Well, the other 2 are not Democrats, okay? So just know that Debbie is the only one. Yeah.
Welcome to our beautiful city, Rolling Hills Estates, and thank you, PV Dems and the committee for putting on this great event. I declared as a Democrat when I was 18 years old, and I haven't changed it. And I've had 3 elections to nonpartisan races, and I never went to decline to state or no party preference. I've been a Democrat through and through. And even though these jobs are nonpartisan, I think that Democrats bring value and values to the job. A traditional Democratic value is the environment. So let me talk about what Rolling Hills Estates is doing. We are the first city in the Clean Power Alliance. Thank you, Connie Sullivan. We most recently have used very little funds, mostly funded by grants, to take out all the water-sucking grass at City Hall, part of High Ridge Park, and replace it with drought-tolerant plants. And that was a partnership with PV Land Conservancy. We got a grant to do that because Cal Water is giving grants to pull out your grass. The other thing that we did recently was we installed 6 dual port chargers, EV chargers, at City Hall. Again, funded almost completely by grants. These are good things, and these are traditional democratic values, but there's more. We also, as a city, have a balanced budget, not just balanced, we have a budget surplus. How many cities can say they have a budget surplus and that their pension funds are very well funded and that they have a very good investment policy to take care of any shortages? So I'm very proud to be a member of the City Council in Rolling Hills Estates. I am up for re-election. I look forward to engaging with each and every one of you. I wanted to acknowledge some people who were not acknowledged before from Peninsula High. This is the best way to learn about civics, is to be at a gathering like this. Renata and Sophie over there by the tent. Give a wave. And finally, I want to also add the fact that I have endorsed Ami and Eric as well for school board. Eric came to me a long time ago and said he wanted to run for school board, and I really tried hard to talk him out of it. Because my husband, Larry Vandenbosch, spent 2 terms on the PV school board during the last recession. And it is a thankless job, whether you're the president or not, it is thankless. But Eric is going to bring a lot of smarts and energy and cred with 4 kids in the school district to the school board. And Ami, I've seen Ami speak, I've witnessed her leadership. I think she will be a great re-election choice. So please remember Eric and Ami when you're checking out the ballots. And if Rolling Hills Estates needs an election, I look forward to your support. All the incumbents have pulled papers. 1 more community member has pulled papers. There are 3 spots. If just 1 person doesn't file, we may not have an election. So thank you very much.
So I always use Rolling Hills Estates as an example of what can happen when Democrats have the majority on a city council. Of the 4 cities up here, Rolling Hills Estates is the only one with a majority of Democrats on the city council. And you just heard from Debbie how important that is. I don't think any of the other cities are doing much when it comes to the environment, for example, and Rolling Hills Estates is a shining example of that. So thank you. All right. Next, we have the Student Environmental Advocacy Group. Michelle Chan will be speaking.
All right.
Some others that we saw. Introduce yourself, okay?
Yeah, no worries. Good afternoon, Democrats. Is everyone having a good time? Yeah. It's kind of hot outside, isn't it? My name is Michelle Chan. I am the graduate from Palos Verdes Peninsula High School, and more importantly, I am the advisor for the Student Environmental Advocacy Group.
Hi, I'm Lucien Vanderhoof, and I am a new member at SEEV, but I am the leader of the Penn Charter.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan. I'll be a rising senior, and this year I'll be the co-president of the Student Environmental Advocacy.
Good afternoon, my name is Sophie Sun. I'm a recent PV High graduate and former president of the Student Environmental Advocacy, aka SEA. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to encouraging environmental advocacy through grassroots events and policy reform. And some examples of our previous work include a climate march in San Pedro and Wilmington in collaboration with students from that area. We also have proposed improved district food waste management practices, as well as native plant workshops at elementary and middle schools. All of this so that we can sort of encourage education and advocacy and awareness surrounding sustainability.
All right.
As of now, we are holding a plastic recycling drive focused on type 1 plastic, like your water bottles right now. Our collections are held at the Palos Verdes Peninsula High School parking lot during the farmers market. We are trying to reduce the amount of plastic pollution on our beaches and also educate our youth.
Speaking of youth, one of our beliefs is that, to really encourage recycling and sustainable practices, we really need to start young and, encourage younger children to recycle and teach them better ways that they can reuse the plastics that they have. So we're doing stuff at the Penn Library. Yeah.
All right.
conclude, we just want to say that to everyone among us today, you are the embodiment of hope and the champions of change. Keep pushing boundaries, raising voices, encourage youth participation, and know that your efforts are laying the foundation for a brighter, more sustainable future. Thank you for the PV Democrats for having us today, and vote blue.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, next up we have from the Palos Verdes Library District Board, we have the trustee Zoe Uno, and Rose Kwan Easton could not attend today, but Zoe's here. And you're up for re-election, right?
So it's a pleasure to be here again with you this year. I've appreciated the support and encouragement that I've received from the community, and I hope to have your vote in November, if just like one of the other cities, if we have enough people, or if we have more people and are required to have a vote again. One thing I do want to share is in 2025, we'll start our next strategic planning sessions. And I bring significant experience in working in libraries and strategic planning. And I think my voice is an important one on the board, because as a number of people have pointed out, my voice is not always the same as everyone that's on the board. And it's important that we hear diverse voices from across the district. And so, again, I hope to have your support if we are going to have an election this year. And if you have any questions for me, my contact information is on the library website, and I'd be happy to talk with you if you have questions about the library district and the work that we're doing. Thank you.
Also, we are now going to hear from the Water Replenishment Board District, Rob Catherman, who provided our water cans today.
Stop using those plastic bottles. So I've got good news for you today. We have a record amount of stormwater capture in our groundwater basin the last 2 years. We have more water stored in our groundwater basin than we did decades ago before we started overpumping our basin. So congratulations to us, and congratulations to Mother Nature, because she provides about half of our stormwater replenishment each year. I also want to thank all of you for your conservation efforts for the last decade. We are using half the water for Metropolitan Water District, sorry Scott, than we did 10 years ago, all through your conservation efforts. So I think you all deserve a round of applause. And lastly, I want to talk about our groundwater. 5 years ago, we finished an advanced treatment plant in Pico Rivera. That enabled us to completely get off of imported water for our groundwater replenishment. So our groundwater basin now, which provides half of our drinking water for 4 million people in our service area, is now completely sustainable and does not require any imported water for groundwater replenishment any longer. Our next, yeah, let's clap for that. And it's not me, it's we. We have a fabulous team of engineers and professionals that do the work for us to make us elected officials look good. And it's hard to make me look good. Just ask my wife. Last, I want to talk about, we are going to be working with Metropolitan Water District, West Basin Water District, and the City of LA to use treated sewage reclamation to finish the other half of the job we haven't done. We've got the groundwater sustainable, but now working with our sister agencies, we're going to take the water that comes from the joint plant in Carson,
that the county sanitation district runs and the Hyperion plant that Los Angeles runs up by the airport, and treat that water, advanced treat it, and use our groundwater basin as an intermediary to provide drinking water and drought-proof our entire basin. In 20 years, we will be exporting water out of our groundwater basin. Thank you.
Next up is our Assembly Member, Almer Tsuchi. Please know that he's going to be having a town hall in Palos Verdes next Saturday, 10 a.m. at Fred Hess Park.
Good evening, Democrats. My name is Almer Tsuchi, and I'm proud to represent Palos Verdes in the South Bay in the California Legislature. I want to thank Connie and all of the hard-working volunteers of the Palos Verdes Democratic Club for always organizing this wonderful get-together for us Democrats in the South Bay to come together and to support each other. You know, I've had the privilege of representing the South Bay for 10 years now, and this year is my last re-election to the California Legislature. I would, I see many of you in the audience, people that have been supportive of me over the years, and I just want to really thank all of you for all of your support over the years, for giving me the privilege to be able to represent, what I consider to be the most beautiful part of the state of California and the California Legislature. Before I go any further, I wanted to go from local to national. First of all, local. I'm a proud parent of a daughter who's attending Peninsula High School now, and I want to emphasize the critical importance of getting good people elected to the school board. There's at least one member of our current school board, who is still living in COVID times and is still fighting the culture wars of masking and vaccines. Our school board should not be about the culture wars. Our school board should be about our kids. And that is why I'm proud to support Ami Gandhi, Sarah Dean, and Eric Allegria to form a new, let's give it up for them. Because it is so important. I mean, many of us have had the privilege of being able to have our kids attend Palos Verdes schools. And we need to make sure that we keep Palos Verdes schools to be among the best public schools in the entire state of California, and that is why it's so critical that we elect them. Also, there is a very important school bond that's going to be on the ballot for Palos Verdes schools. The local dollars raised are going to be spent locally. And I know, a few years ago when I toured the high schools and when I talked to the students, the sad thing is that in such an affluent community like Palos Verdes, we have some of the crappiest school facilities in the state. And I can say that, representing the South Bay, I get to see, the schools in the beach cities, Torrance, Palos Verdes has the worst school facilities. And it's a real disgrace for this community that we can't pass a school bond to support our kids. We know that school facilities are critically important, to and directly tied to student success, student outcomes. And so I hope all of you can support this upcoming school bond. Talking about school bonds, as chair of the Assembly Education Committee, one of my top priorities has been serving as lead author of a statewide school bond that's going to be providing matching dollars to local districts like Palos Verdes, as well as any other school districts. I know Redondo is represented. All school districts throughout the state of California stand to benefit from receiving matching dollars from a statewide school bond, which I authored the bill, Assembly Bill 247, that is now Proposition 2. Proposition 2 is on the November 2024 ballot. It is to provide matching dollars to every local school district, with specific provisions to make sure that it's a progressive school bond, that districts with a higher percentage of socioeconomically disadvantaged students receive a higher match. And also there are specific dollars set aside for school greening projects. I mean, we've all been dealing with the extreme heat, and so we need to make sure, not every school in the state of California gets to enjoy these kind of green fields. Many schools are like asphalt jungles, and they become like extreme heat islands. And so it's critically important that we make sure that we provide, good schools for every child, regardless of where you live. You shouldn't have to live in Palos Verdes to attend excellent public schools. Last but not least, obviously it was a crazy day for Democrats today. Like many of you, I was glued to hearing the latest news about what is happening to our country. I was not one of those that was calling for Joe Biden to step down, because I feel like, if it's just running on your record, Joe Biden has accomplished so much for working families, fighting to restore basic respect in our nation's highest office. But in case any of you are wondering, I'm not running for president of the United States, and that is because I'm all in for Kamala Harris. Yeah. I'm all in for Kamala Harris. And as a former prosecutor, I can't wait to see that matchup between the prosecutor and the convicted felon.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I also cannot wait to see this historic matchup between the first woman of color to run against the man who overturned Roe versus Wade. And so, obviously, this election is going to be one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. There is absolutely no reason for any of us to be sitting out this election. We all need to get involved, fight, and make sure that we elect Kamala Harris and not see a repeat of Donald Trump. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have our state senator, Ben Allen, representing the Senate District 24. If you didn't know the number, you live in Senate District 24. And we're happy to have him here this year. This is the first time he's managed to be here in person.
All right. Very, very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful picnic. It was so great to see so many of you the other day on the Zoom. And I appreciate everyone letting me do that virtually, because I've got a little 2-month-old at home, which is great. Not a very restful experience, but otherwise really great. We got a little 5-year-old and now a little girl. But it really does. I got to say, having this growing family really does underscore for me why I'm so passionate about being a Democrat. I think about the kind of world that we're going to be passing on to my little daughter. Will she have reproductive rights? Will she have bodily autonomy? I don't know that I ever thought that those kinds of things would be so under threat when I was growing up. And yet here we are in this moment where things are really so hanging in the balance. Will we expand access to the ballot? Will we actually do we want people to participate in the democratic process? Or are we going to make it more and more difficult? Do we want people to have access to health care, of all backgrounds? Do we care about working people? Do we care about environmental protection? Or are we going to sell off environmental policy to big polluters and to big businesses? And that's a fundamental question that we're facing right now. And I know we face it every year, but gosh, the other thing, of course, we face all those, but we oftentimes don't face the basic question about democratic norms. I mean, I wasn't worried about Mitt Romney repealing the Constitution. I mean, I didn't support the guy, but he was an honorable person who I wasn't afraid of his commitment to American democracy. And it seems as though this new leadership in the Republican Party really, one has to ask questions, and to see how much they've purged. They've purged anyone who is not on the wagon train is pretty extraordinary too. So it reminds me of why I'm so proud to be a Democrat, why I'm proud to be part of the state legislature, where we're working on all these kinds of things that Al talked about. I'm proud to be part of this broader community of Democrats here. And it was just really great just listening to all these incredible people running for local office, stepping up and serving the community here on the Hill and throughout the South Bay. They're such excellent people that are stepping forward. It's not a glamorous job. You don't get paid. In fact, you just get a lot of hassle from folks, including threats and all sorts of really ugly things. And yet we have a fresh and exciting group of people that want to step up and serve this community and serve it with honor. And I do want to particularly call out our wonderful candidates for the school board, Ami and Eric, who are here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for stepping up to provide leadership in the school board. I used to serve on the school board myself, just like Al, and I know how important that work is. I know how difficult it is, and I can't emphasize enough how enthusiastic I am about getting both of them elected to our board here. And the bond, that does deserve a round of applause. Yeah. I do want to talk about the bond. I got a chance to talk to some of the young folks that are here. They've come up to meet with me in Sacramento and elsewhere. It is appalling, the conditions at the schools here. I mean, I've got a chance to walk some of the campuses. Unfortunately, our system really does rely on local communities like this to step up and support their kids through better facilities. And yet it's proven so difficult here on the Hill. And I just have to say how committed I am to helping everybody here get this bond passed. It's important for our young people. They deserve to go to school in good conditions where you don't have tiles falling off the roof. And I mean, Al has to get individual line items out of the state budget to pay for the bathrooms here. I mean, it's madness. And the kids here deserve better. So let's get that bond passed this November and help our kids here on the Hill. We're working on a lot of investments. Al talked about the education bond. We've got a statewide climate bond too, particularly focused on water resiliency, groundwater recycling, and groundwater and water recycling, but also watersheds. And we know as the climate continues to worsen, unfortunately, we've got to put in place the investments now to make sure that we're more resilient in the future. There's a lot of funding in there also to help with wildfire, and we know that's a constant challenge here on the Hill. Are our firefighters going to have the resources that they need to fight fires? Are we also providing the kinds of supports to homeowners, to businesses, and to government to make sure that very high fire risk zones are more resilient and more and better able to combat fires? We know will continue to be a challenge as drought and heat continue to impact us statewide. So these are all some of the things that we're working on right now. I continue to be hopeful. I think that today was a wild day, and I want to salute our incredible president as well, Joe Biden, who just put his heart and soul into this job. He cares so much about regular folks, so successful, so much to show for his 3.5 years in office. And I also know that Kamala Harris is going to be a fantastic president, and she's going to bring some new energy into this campaign. We all know her from having served with her here in California. She came up through local government too, by the way, so it underscores the importance of local government. And then with one final point I want to make, and maybe I'll just take privilege here to introduce the next speaker, because the next speaker is my colleague and friend. We're both big leaders in environmental policy. I serve as the chairman of the Environmental Quality Committee, and he serves as the chairman of the Natural Resources and Water Committee. We are really serious about environmental protection here in California. And I got to say, it really is one of the things that differentiates us with the Republican Party and some of the national politics. We care about our environment here a great deal. By the way, I find that most Republicans in this area actually care about the environment too. I wish they could kind of filter that up to their leaders. But we've been fighting on everything from to the most groundbreaking plastics and waste reduction legislation in the nation that we got passed a couple of years ago, SB 54, right the way over to world-leading climate change legislation. And Dave has been a part of this effort every step of the way. He's been particularly strong on offshore oil drilling. He represents a coastal community in Orange County, and he's been taking the fight to the oil companies in his district that have unfortunately polluted those waters so many times. Dave Min has been serving with me in the state Senate, and now we are sad because we're going to be losing him, hopefully, to Congress in November. Dave is stepping up to run down in Orange County. When we talk about how tenuous everything is at the national level, we've got the presidency in the balance, we've got the Senate in the balance, and we've got the House in the balance. And for the first two things, there's not, our votes obviously matter. We feel pretty confident we're going to go blue for the Electoral College, and we're going to get Adam Schiff elected to the Senate. But there are some red hot, blue hot battleground congressional races happening right on our doorstep, right here in California. California is going to play a critical role in determining which way the House goes. And no matter what happens at top of the ticket, it's so important for the Democrats to take control of the House. And so you have a special opportunity right now to hear from a friend who's a great champion, a great Democrat, someone who's going to help the Democrats retake the House, my friend, future Congressman Dave Min.
Hi, everyone. That's quite an introduction to live up to. It is a sad day that, unfortunately, I am stepping down from the Senate after one term, and really appreciate the invitation to be here from Orange County. Thank you, Palos Verdes Democrats. Exciting to be here. I've been here many times. First time addressing you all, but my name's Dave Min, and I am running to succeed Katie Porter in the seat she gave up to run for U.S. Senate. The heart of Orange County, my home city of Irvine, Costa Mesa, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, and this is seen as maybe the top race for the House this year. It's a seat that Katie Porter won by only 3 points last cycle, despite spending $29 million. So the Republicans have made it either their top target or certainly one of their top 3 targets, and we got a tough task in front of us. But here's why I want to give you some optimism. This is not your parents' Orange County. I know a lot of you have preconceptions about our part of Southern California, but someone like me would not be elected to the state Senate if this were the old Orange County. And what a lot of folks don't realize is my particular district, which a lot of people think of as the heart of Orange County. This is the area Ronald Reagan described as the place good Republicans go before they die. But what people don't realize is that over 50% of the people in my district now are new Americans. They are people that are either immigrants or the children of immigrants. And so my story, our values really do resonate with the voters of this district. I'm the son of Korean immigrants. My parents grew up during the Korean War, a conflict that killed 10% of that population. And they came over here in 1970 like so many millions of other people in search of a better life. They had me and then my younger brother, Andrew. My brother's a Stanford-educated doctor. I'm a Harvard-educated lawyer. In every way, shape, and form, we are the American dream, and that's what this country's about. And growing up, thank you. Yeah, we should applaud the American dream because that's what's at stake right now, and it's about our values. And growing up, I was always reminded of the fact that, but for the sacrifice of 36,000 American troops a long time ago fighting for those same values we're talking about today, I wouldn't be here. My parents never would have had the opportunities they had, and that's why I've spent my career giving back. My very first job out of law school was right after Enron and WorldCom and 9/11. I turned down Goldman Sachs to go to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, to crack down on corporate fraud. Went on to work in government for Chuck Schumer before getting a dream offer to come back home to California to teach at what was then a brand new law school, UC Irvine. And Katie Porter was one of the people that recruited me. And like Katie, I didn't think I'd be in politics. I'd actually worked for Chuck Schumer. I'd seen him do call time. I'd seen him call people for money. And I thought that's the last thing a sane person wants to do with their time. And I'll also tell you, I didn't think I'd be good at it because I was kind of shy, terrible at asking people for money, terrible at selling magazines as a kid. But Donald Trump was elected in 2016. I think for me, probably for a lot of you, that was a catalyst in my life. I've got 3 young kids who are now 13, 11, and 8. And we are fighting for their future. We're fighting for the future of this country right now. We're fighting for all the values that we know are at stake in this election. We may not have a democracy. We may not have rights. A lot of us in this audience right now don't have a seat at the table in Donald Trump's America. And so there's vast differences between me and my opponent. And I'll just tell you, I know we can win here in Orange County because I won in this exact same area in 2020. I was the first Democrat in the modern era to hold this state Senate seat, and I won in 2020 on an outspoken agenda, the same values we're talking about today. Women's reproductive rights, climate, gun safety, standing up to MAGA extremists,
And I've tried to follow through in the state legislature. Ben mentioned some of the stuff we've done on climate. We authored 30 by 30 legislation that we passed, making California the first state in the country to codify 30 by 30 legislation. You may have seen that my bill banning gun shows on state property was recently upheld by the Ninth Circuit. And I authored legislation making California the first jurisdiction in the world to recognize incursions on women's reproductive autonomy as a form of domestic violence. Really groundbreaking stuff. Locally, you may know that I represent Huntington Beach, and if you've read the news at all, you know Huntington Beach is up to some crazy MAGA stuff. And we've been trying to hold them accountable with legislation, with audits, by just speaking out. And I've been to their city council meetings several times to speak out against their book bans, their attempts to privatize the libraries, their attempts to just turn our cities into culture war beacons. And I'll keep doing that in Congress because I know right now we need fighters. We need people who are going to stand up and fight for our values. And I won in this same area by 5 points in 2020 with this agenda. So I think we got a strong campaign. And while I'm not Katie Porter, I like to say I taught with PowerPoint, not whiteboards, when I was at UCI. What I've got going for me, I think I've got a strong appeal to the Asian community that is the swing vote in our district, 25% of our voters. And the top hit against Katie Porter last cycle was that she was soft on crime and wanted to defund the police. Well, I've got law enforcement backing me in this race. I think that's going to be a big difference maker. I know that not everyone loves that endorsement, but in Orange County, this is the OC, that is a big frickin' deal. So I think we're going to be successful if we have that help we need going forward. This is going to be a tough, tough election. And let's be honest, most Americans right now believe we're on the wrong track. If you talk to young people, they believe the American dream doesn't exist. We've got huge challenges in front of us, and we're facing right now a juggernaut that wants to end democracy, wants to end our basic rights, wants to just completely violate the rule of law, and my opponent, Scott Baugh, is no exception to that. Scott Baugh is someone who has spent his career enriching himself. He was a legislator in the state assembly early on in his career and was indicted for 22 counts of campaign finance fraud, including 4 felony charges. He spent the last 25 years as a lobbyist enriching himself through his access to legislators, representing some of the worst interest groups out there, big oil, big tobacco, sober living homes, you name it, he's probably represented them. So he's the exact opposite of me, and he's a chronic lawbreaker. I've upheld the rule of law throughout my career, and he's also a MAGA extremist. He said that the biggest threat America's ever faced in its history, bigger than 9/11, bigger than World War II or the Civil War, is wokeism. He supports a blanket ban on abortion starting at conception with no exceptions whatsoever. He was one of the first Republicans out there to come out and say that the criminal conviction of Donald Trump was a political witch hunt. So we know what we're dealing with here, but I think we can win this, but we're going to need your help. So let's go do this. Thank you very much for your help, and look forward to seeing many of you in Orange County. Thanks so much.
Our last speaker tonight is our very own Congressman, Ted Lieu.
Well, good evening. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you. I'm going to talk about the presidential race, and then I'm going to talk about why we're going to flip the House, and then I'm going to swear in your amazing board. So Joe Biden is going to go down in history as one of the best presidents America's ever had. He took our country when we were crippled by the pandemic, and he turned it around. Right? He ushered in record job creation, over 15 million jobs created in the first half of his term, the highest in U.S. history. He then brought unemployment down to 50-year lows. He signed the PACT Act that helps our veterans. He signed the Chips and Science Act that's going to bring high-tech chip manufacturing back to America. He signed the infrastructure law. He signed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the most far-reaching climate change legislation in world history. And a number of these laws is going to take years and years and years to implement. And so I'm just going to read you this ancient Greek proverb that I actually read off of Dave Minn's website one day, and I thought that's a really cool proverb. And it says, "A society grows great when elders plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit." And that is what Joe Biden did. He has set America on a remarkable path to continue our greatness and to continue the leadership in the world. And much of what he's done is going to take years and years to come to fruition. And he did that because he understood how great our country is. And he took an action today that very few people have ever taken. It reminds me of what George Washington did when he said, for the good of our country, I'm just not going to seek re-election. And so we should give a great big round of applause to our president, Joe Biden. I am thrilled that Joe Biden endorsed Kamala Harris for president.
Yeah.
5 years ago, I was the first member of Congress to endorse Kamala Harris for president. I was a little early by 5 years, but I'm very excited to endorse her again for president. Kamala called me today, and I told her we're going to work 25 hours a day to make sure she's elected, and with AI, you can actually do that. So I'm very, very excited that she is now starting to garner support from many folks across America. And at the end of the day, delegates are still going to vote, and they will vote for whoever they want to vote for. But I believe that the overwhelming majority are going to vote for Kamala Harris for president, and she will be our nominee. And heading into November, it's very clear to me that we are going to win, because folks basically see someone that has really messed up our country when he was in office during those 4 years, and then they see Kamala Harris, who not only, by the way, was on the presidential ticket that beat Donald Trump, she was also on the same ticket that won all these Democratic primaries this year. And she is going to be able to seamlessly, basically, transition into the Biden-Harris campaign, because she's already been part of it for this entire time. So I look forward to working with her. I look forward to working with all of you as we continue to retain Democratic control of the White House. And then I'm going to tell you now why we're going to flip the House. So at the beginning of this term, we had to flip 5 seats. Now it's 4 seats, because with the help of many of you, we flipped a seat in New York earlier this year. And that was a race where the Republican won it last term by about 7 or 8 points. This time we won it by about 7 or 8 points for a differential of 15 points. It was not even close. And if you look at all the elections since the horrific overturning of Roe versus Wade, Democrats have overperformed and Republicans have underperformed. So the first reason we're going to flip the House is we have actual election results, from state House races where we're flipping seats, to congressional races, to even local elections where we're simply outperforming Republicans. That's one of the best predictors of what happens in November. Second reason we're going to flip the House is because we are just right on the issues, from reproductive freedom to climate change to gun safety. The overwhelming majority of Americans are with us on the issues. The polling shows that, and if you look at the generic congressional ballot, Democrats continue to lead. Just let you know, 2 years ago, we did not lead the congressional ballot. We did not take over the House. But this time we are leading. And with that sort of issues and polling actual election results, it has, I think, a very, very good chance that we not only flip the House this November, but that it won't even be close. And a third reason we're going to win is we just have better candidates, right? Candidates like Dave Min, and you heard him speak. I urge you to donate to Dave Min. When you give money to him, he can use it to buy TV advertising at basically 1/5 the cost of a super PAC. So if you gave him $100, it's like giving a super PAC $500. So just give him more money, and he can use it much more efficiently. In addition, we have a huge amount of excitement now from this historic day. You may have seen on Act Blue, they're reporting basically record donations of people just surging money in. And so you have, I think, a very excited Democratic base. And if that doesn't sort of get you animated, just go on the internet and search for Project 2025. And you will know exactly what to do. Because at the end of the day, we cannot have a country where if we lose the election, we might lose our democracy. And so I think most American people get that. And that's why I think we're going to win in November. So with that, I'm going to now swear in the new board. And if you would please come up here, that'd be great.
Can you make sure it's pointed at the right place?
Yes. And while they come up here, I want to say you all have had amazing leadership by your current president, Connie.
Yeah.
Let's give Connie Trump a great big round of applause. And then we all look forward to welcoming your new president, Rob Wynn. You all want to come up and say your name?
introduce themselves.
Hi, Robert Wynn, incoming president. Thank you.
Carol Schwartz, Activision Chair.
Tim Dixon, second vice president.
John Munoz, LACDP associate member.
Larry Donahue, membership chair.
Allison Phillips, publicity.
Carol Moeller, parliamentarian.
Casey Crow, recording secretary.
Reggie Jew, webmaster.
Connie Sullivan, past president.
They got detected relief in that voice. Okay, so I'm going to read you this paragraph, and all you have to do at the end of this is say, I do. Okay, all right. In order to fulfill your responsibilities in a democratic society, to stimulate active participation at all levels of government, and to perpetuate the ideals of the Democratic Party, as members of Palos Verdes Democrats Board of Directors, do you hereby commit to the following: to guide the Palos Verdes Democrats to enhance the growth of the Democratic Party, to develop party leadership, to promote harmony among party members, and to advance the principles of the Democratic Party?
I do.
Congratulations, this is a new board.
One quick thing I want to say. Our club is a little different than most of the other clubs. We turn our presidents over every couple of years. That is, if we can find somebody who's willing to step up and do it. And we did. We got Rob Wynn. And every time we change presidents, the club changes a little bit, you know, based on the personality and the interests of the president. And so I'm really looking forward to what Rob will bring to this club in the coming year, or maybe 2 years.
Connie has been a role model for many of us. She is someone that we all aspire to be. She is going to be a delegate for the presidential election in Chicago coming up, and helping to elect Kamala Harris as our next president. And Congressman, you had mentioned that Connie seems relaxed and relieved. And Connie, we really want to thank you, and we know this has been a somewhat stressful job, so we got you a nice gift certificate for Burke Williams. And thanks to Reggie and the rest of the board, we also got you a nice water bottle with our logo on it for you to take with you as well. And I also want to say, if you saw the TV cameras around here earlier, tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox 11, it's the local Fox, not the national. Congressman Liu did an interview, and Supervisor Janice Hahn. So at 10 o'clock tonight, please watch that, and they'll talk about the picnic. Thank you, everyone, for being at the picnic. Thank you for this wonderful board. Thank you, Congressman Liu, and it's great to hear about our next president, Kamala Harris. If you have not joined the board yet, if you have not joined the club yet, please do. I think it's like $25 for the year. We have a lot of activities throughout the year. We have a lot of great people. We have a lot of great families, and we really need your help and support. And what I'd like to say, this is one of our biggest and best picnics ever. I want to thank the young people. I want to thank the retirees. I want to thank everyone else. This has been a wonderful event. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Rob Wynn, the incoming president, and I'll be around for the next couple of hours just to say hello. So thank you very much. Thank you.
One more thing, I think there's still ice cream, so please take some. Also, we have flyers for Ami Gandhi's fundraiser on August 1st. I expect to see all of you there, hopefully. And there was one other. Oh, and we have lawn signs for Eric Alegria. If you live in Rancho Palos, if you live anywhere on the hill, please take a lawn sign for Eric Alegria for the school board. Thank you.